So let's go ahead and get started. Mike, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. We're going to be speaking about something that is insidious, something that we do not like to bring up, but it's necessary because you know how important it is for me to bring value to my group, to bring value to my entire community. So even the unmentionables in our hospitality business, I am going to drag it out so that we can discuss it because it is so very important that we do so. So welcome, Mike. Tonight we're talking about bed bugs.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the topic, but and number one, thanks for having me on, Dr. Rachel. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and I really appreciate that. We met through Clubhouse.
Yep.
And always appreciated the knowledge that you share, and you're a true professional. So it's an honor to be here. And I'm sorry we're talking about bed bugs, but it is the underbelly of hospitality, but it's also a problem that has gone literally swept under the rug for years in the hotel game. And I had a very unique way of how I got involved into it, and I'll try to keep that part short. But I literally fell into this. I live in Sacramento, and a good friend of mine owns a pest control company. His name's John McIntyre, a very successful pest control company called Highlander, and primarily works in multifamily. And I also coach, and he gave me a little bottle of blue essential oil one day and said, wear this, just apply it to your skin and it keeps mosquitoes away. I said, okay. And I did it and the stuff is amazing. About a year goes by and I ran into him at the trade show. Hey man, you got any more of that blue stuff? And he said, well, it's a 9.2 ounce can now. And he gave it to me and he goes, it's actually for bed bugs. And I go, I don't know what a bed bug is. That's wonderful. And I mentioned to him I was taking a team up to Oregon for a tournament. We're staying in student housing. And he immediately gave me a case of this stuff and said, spray everyone's beds, their nights, their mattress, the outside of their luggage, spray it all. And you don't need a lot of it. And I said, why? He's like, just do it. And I go, okay. And I get up to the tournament. I did what he told me. My whole team thought I was out of my mind. And the next day, on the first day of the tournament, when we showed up at the fields, 4 teams that were staying in the same dorms we were covered in bed bug bites. And these are kids, and it was a nightmare. I had parents from staying at adjoining hotels that had bed bugs. And while I was there, people were coming up to me and say, I'll give you $100 for that can, or I'll give you, I didn't know what to think. So when I got back to Sacramento, I called John and said, number one, what's a bed bug? And number 2, what are you doing with this stuff? And he could have been really selfish and said, I'm keeping it for his own company. But he's like, bed bugs it's classified as an epidemic in our country.
Wow.
And he said, I want to take this. I want to take this to the general public. And, the product it's lab tested in Sierra Research Labs down in Modesto. And, we did everything right. We, made sure we were a Prop 65 compliant product, a 25B exempt, because he's got all the pest control knowledge. Mm-hmm. And it took us a while to get it out. But once we got it out and started talking to the hotels and apartments locally here, it was incredible. The results were fantastic. And we got it into about 600 hotels and apartments in Northern California.
Oh,
and
wow.
Mostly Sacramento. And Sacramento went from the 42nd worst city for bed bugs in the country to the next year, just not even on the list.
Oh, wow.
And so we were really onto something. This was 2019. And so we did a test run with HD Supply, and it went crazy. And then lovely COVID showed up. But it was actually a blessing in disguise, because we were able to really kind of study where these bed bugs are coming from. And unfortunately, hosts are getting blamed wrongly. It's the guests that bring them in. And I hope that was short enough, but that's how I got involved, and I haven't looked back since. And that's when I had an opportunity to meet someone like you. And the more we started talking to hosts and people in hospitality, the more we really realized that prevention is the absolute most important thing to do. So that's how I got here. And so really, I know, since you're a very smart person and you're a doctor, I wanted to give you a quick quiz.
Go for it.
Okay.
I hope I don't disappoint.
No, it's only 2 questions. So, but it's multiple choice.
Okay.
And what I love about it's such a great time for short-term rentals, by the way. It's such a great opportunity now, because about 30% of hotel stays are now short-term rentals every month. And hospitality is being taken over by that. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. But I wanted to ask you this question. In 2019, which was the last time they've studied the effects of bed bugs in hotels, what percentage of hotels had at least one incident of bed bugs? And you can go A, 35%, B, 50%, C, 65%, or D, 80%.
You know what? It's sad, but I was not even close to 30%. So to think that that's the smallest number is absolutely frightening. And so I'm just going to actually take a pause and phone a friend, because we have over 10 people watching right now, over 20. I would love for you all to join me and let me know what percent of hotels do you think were impacted by bed bugs in 2019. Is it A, 30%? What was it again, Mike?
A, 30%, B, 50%, C, 65%, and D, 80%.
Okay, so I would think, like a normal person, if it was extremely high, we would hear about it on the news, because like you said, they're really brushing it under the carpet, aren't they? So I'm still going to go with 30%, but let me see who's here with us and let us know what your vote is. And I'm trying to figure out how to do this on YouTube. What is your vote? What percentage of hotels were affected by bed bugs, guys? Let us know.
Yeah. And I like the way you deduce. See, I would just, if I don't know the answer, I just go B. This is why you're a doctor and I'm not. You know how to take tests.
I overthink every step of it sometimes. Okay, so Anne says 65. Esther says 80. Helena, hey, Dr. Helena, where have you been? Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. 65%. Okay. What else, guys? What do you think? I know there's more of you out there. We're doing it a little different. I so appreciate you guys jumping in on YouTube with us today, because I have been banned, guys. I'm blocked. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
All right. So I said 30. So let's go with the majority. So based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm going to look at one more sheet. Okay, Christian, are there any others? All right. There's like a refresh delay. It is all good.
Oh, no problem.
So, okay, 80. We're at a tie now.
Okay.
50%. Ian says, hi, Gail. Gail, I don't think we've met. I'm happy to see you. Hi, Ian. I don't think we've met. And I know we met a little earlier, and Esther, I see you. So we have 2 for 65. We have a tie with 65 and 80%. So let's not let the suspense kill them. 65 and 80% are tied.
It's
Nina
killing
says
me.
30. Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell us, what is it?
80%.
What?
Yes. Good job, Esther. 80% of hotels in the United States had at least one incident of bed bugs per year.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Goodness.
Oh, hang on a second.
Sure. You're probably getting a call. That is insane, guys. So Esther and Gail selected 80%. Good job. Oh my goodness. Nina says, OMG, right? Nina, I am right there with you.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
It's crazy. And I'm going to save the second question. I'll just tell you the answer. The average price per incident is $6,400.
Oh, those statistics are alarming. And especially for a short-term rental host like us, $6,000, $1,000 can be very, very tough. When
Yeah.
you're, especially in slow season, when you're trying to make it through, $6,000 is absolutely insane.
Now
Oh
that's
my
the
goodness.
and that's the average for a hotel. So it's going to be a
Mhm.
little bit cheaper for, an individual. But when the hotels usually get it, what happens is, and why it's so expensive, they have to heat treat. And in order to
Mm.
heat treat, they have to close the room
Yeah.
and heat up that room. Well, if you just heat up that one room, the bugs will go into the other rooms. So what they have to do, they have to actually close all the surrounding rooms and then heat up the surrounding rooms and work their way in. And it can be a 2 to 3 day process. And when this was going on, when I spoke to a few managers when I first started, they said, yeah, the heat treatment works great for controlling the bug and getting rid of them. But his problem was, he's like, what I'm worried about, the very next guest might be bringing them back in because the bed bugs are hitchhikers. They jump in our luggage and our clothes, and they harbor themselves there and they hide. And the reason why is they stay near their food source, which is us. They feed off our blood, and so the average price is 64, and that's very high for the hotels. But when you start breaking that number down, there's approximately 91,000 hotels in the country, right? If 80% of them, that's about 72,000 of the hotels, all spend on average of $6,400. That's over $464 million that's spent just in the hotel side of things. That's a huge, and that's a budgetary problem, but it's still a problem that we as a general public don't hear about because they don't talk about bed bugs.
Mm-mm.
It's pretty scary. And actually Americans across the country per year spend $3.5 billion on fighting bed bugs. So when people say, well, I don't, bed bugs, whatever, you don't care about it until you get them. And,
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah.
yeah,
So I had an experience, no offense, Maggie Valley, North Carolina. Don't come for me, Tyler
yeah,
Kuhn. But
doesn't matter.
Maggie Valley, I went there on vacation, and I
Mm-hmm.
kid you not, we brought back bed bugs. I didn't know what it was. I spent weeks getting treatments for hives, which is what I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
I had.
yeah,
I thought I
yeah.
had hives. It took a couple of months to finally diagnose it correctly. A
Yep,
couple of months. And
yep.
I kid you not, Mike, it was quite devastating. We threw out mattresses,
Yep.
beds. We had an upholstered bed, beautiful upholstered bed. We had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
They had grown into the upholstery. It was a disaster. So to me, it is something that is really devastating. And I remember even when the project was complete, I walked around with like a complex. I felt like they were in my scalp. I like there was like a whole mental component of it. I never felt safe. It was
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. There's people, because people lose sleep over it. And when
Yeah.
you lose sleep over anything, you're going to have sleep depravity. Is it sleep anxiety, right? Depravity? You're the doctor. You should know it. But,
But
but that
insomnia, it's going to cause you to
it's,
be anxious, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like what we talked about all the time, and peace of mind especially after COVID, peace of mind is the new luxury. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of the goal in hospitality. And when you're running a short-term rental, is that you're in hospitality, these are your guests and you want
Yeah.
them to enjoy themselves. That's how you get good reviews and repeat, more importantly, not more importantly, but repeat customers.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. But the bed bugs are so insidious. They, like you said, they're hitchhikers. They go from guest to guest to guest, and they
mhm.
really ruin, the stay. And if you have
Yeah,
this one or two rentals, it really puts you down for a bit. And so
yeah.
definitely that is something. And I'm getting a lot of feedback in here in comments. So let me see in here. So
Okay.
Quay, I see you. Quay said 80% too. So some of the votes are just coming in. So Quay knew already. Someone said
Yeah,
they were driving, but they would have guessed 80% as well. So
yeah,
you were
yeah.
right. And let's see. Gail said she had an experience at a resort in Florida. And that's the nature of it, right? They're hitchhikers. They can come in, you arrive at your location, you grab your bags are interacting with other individuals' bags. They're so insidious.
Yeah. Yeah, so much so. And the first thing that when we're speaking to anybody in hospitality, anyone that uses our product is know your opponent. And you have to know how the bed bug works in order to prevent the bug. Number one, they don't discriminate. They don't care if you're a 5-star hotel or a beautiful short-term rental or a roadside motel. They don't care. They don't discriminate. Brands, whatever branded of a hotel it is, or wherever your beautiful destination is, they don't care. 2 is that they can go without feeding for over 150 days.
What?
Yes, they can go without feeding for 150 days. So they can harbor, and you might not even know you have them. The problem is while that's going on, females lay 3 to 5 eggs a day. So what happens in that situation, it's obviously in 3 months, one female can exponentially, you could have 30,000 bugs. And
it was insane. When they finally shone the light on it, the team that came, it was insane. The amount of eggs that were just lined up around, it was insane. Yeah.
So it's so gross.
So Quay is asking real quick, what kind of preventative methods can we take as hosts? That's a great question, Quay.
And I'll get to that, Quay. That is a question. Something else to know about these bugs: when they smell carbon dioxide or CO2, what we breathe out
when we're sleeping, right? And you're just breathing out that CO2. Yeah,
that's their perfume. That's their dinner bell. That's when they come out. And when they crawl on you, they're so small. A full-grown adult is about the size of an apple seed, so you cannot feel them when they're crawling on you. What they also do is when they bite you, their saliva has an antiseptic in it, so it numbs your skin, so you don't feel the bite. And it also has an anticoagulant that will make sure your blood doesn't clot. And I made sure I said that correctly with you, Dr. Rachel. It's anticoagulant. I learned that one. So what they just get on you and feast on you. And that's why you see people that have 30, 40 bites on them, because the bugs just had a feast. And then they go back into where they were and then do their thing. And that's what happens. So that's a little bit about the bug. I don't like to go much farther into the bug because it just gets grosser, I should say. But to answer Quay's question, there's a number of things you can do to prevent. The first and foremost, and I'm probably preaching to the choir when I say this, the importance of having solid, trustworthy vendors with your number one with a pest control vendor. I would definitely recommend getting a pest control vendor that practices integrated pest management, or IPM. Excuse me, that knows what they're doing when it comes to heat treatment, because a heat treatment will control the bug and kill the bugs, and it'll kill infestations. Also, a pest control vendor that uses a product called Apprehend, and that is a new to the market. It's a fungicide that was invented by an entomologist from Penn State University. And you have to be certified to use the product, but it will definitely kill off an infestation. Yeah, so that's a very good one to use.
So Mike, is that the one? Because we had to do severe heat treatment. So you wouldn't need the heat treatment with it, or you need the heat treatment as well with the Apprehend?
That with Apprehend, you don't need the heat treatment. I personally, and this is just my personal opinion, just with my experience, I would use both if you have an infestation. I would go heat treatment. Excuse me, there was one thing I would do first, and that was my next vendor that you can look into, is if your rental is just look up your local area and see if there's any bed bug canine inspectors. That's a real thing. They're amazing. These are trained dogs that can find bed bugs in about 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Who would have thunk it?
Oh, and they're super cute too. They're way cuter than me. And but what they do, that you can bring them in quarterly or monthly. The price is a little high, but it's completely worth it, because if there's no bed bugs, you get it all clear. If there are bed bugs, the dogs will find it, and then you can see if you're infested or not. And then once you have it, if you don't have an infestation, or you just after a heat treatment, that's when the prevention really, really starts for you. Some of the things you can do, number one, I'm sure most everybody knows about mattress covers. They're very important.
Yes. And we also cover our box springs too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mattress and box springs covered. And I'm
Absolutely.
over upholstered beds, like the
Mhm.
ones with the fabric.
Yeah.
Just give me
No.
my wood, mahogany. I
Yes.
learned the hard way. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good point, because they will harbor everywhere. Actually,
Oh, they do.
65% of bed bugs hide behind the headboard.
Yeah.
So that's really a good area to keep. I always like to see it when the beds are just a couple, about 3 or 4 inches off of the wall. They're not against the wall. That
Okay.
also kind of,
Okay.
LVP flooring or hard surface flooring. Get rid of get rid of your carpet.
Yeah.
They do not like walking on hard surfaces.
Nice.
They will if they have to, but they still don't want to. Luggage racks. I hope everyone has luggage racks, but even on luggage racks, get the metal ones, because
Yeah.
they can crawl up wood.
Okay.
And with your housekeepers, if they don't know how to inspect for bed bugs, have them learn how to, or you teach them how to,
Okay.
because that's something what I've learned in the hotel industry. When we speak to the general managers just generally send us right to housekeeping. And most of the housekeepers will know how to inspect and what to look for.
That's amazing. Could we rewind for a second? Because you mentioned
Yeah.
luggage racks really quick, but
Mhm.
I want to emphasize why, because I didn't know this before. We would get to a hotel location, put on your bathing suits, throw everything on the floor. We're going. I did not know, do not put your stuff on the floor. Do
Yeah.
not put your stuff on the floor at any accommodations location.
No.
And that's
No.
how yeah. So we, the metal racks in the closet, we put everything up. Do not put anything on the
Yeah.
floor. So I'm hypersensitive about it. So luggage racks are really important, guys. Listen up to this, because that is a great way to prevent transporting.
100%. Yeah. And I'm so glad you do that. And to take it a step further, when we stay anywhere, the luggage rack was actually invented because of bed bugs. Number one.
No way.
Yeah, that's why they brought them out. Number
Oh
two is
my
anytime we
goodness.
travel anywhere, I take the luggage rack and put it in the bathroom, because that's usually where it's tiled. And I'll put, in worst case scenarios, if I really don't trust the place, well, number one, I have my product, but so I don't care. But number two, I'll put my luggage in the bathtub, because that's one of the only places they won't go.
Holy smokes.
Just straight in the bathtub. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, these are some amazing tips that I wouldn't have thought of. Yeah, because after we had that infestation, Mike, talk about squeamish. And as a VP for a tech company, healthcare tech, I had to travel a lot. So imagine the paranoia. Okay. So I did not know about the bathtub. I've legitimately laid on top of towels on a bed like a mummy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun, because and before I knew about bed bugs, I didn't care. And I probably,
Me neither.
and I was
I thought bed bugs was what happened to, developing countries or people who are like down and out and like the poorest of the poor. I didn't realize it didn't discriminate. Like you said, it's just a traveler, a hitchhiker, and it hops from place to place.
Yeah, it really does. And when we first started, we started in multifamily, like I said, and then hospitality. And then what we really found out was that it's like every week we'd find a new industry. Senior homes, student living, government buildings. The one that got me was, I couldn't believe it. We actually, one of our clients is a local EMT, because when the EMTs, especially on the East Coast, when they pull up and put somebody on the stretcher, they will actually wrap them up in a sheet first and then put them on the stretcher, because their ambulances kept on getting infested.
Oh my gosh.
So
coming out of the home of a patient, it would just hop. It would hitchhike.
But the bug would already be on somebody's clothes, and the bug would just crawl off into the truck.
And then multiply.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did, so when the EMT called me, I'm like, yeah, you guys have bed bugs? He's like, yeah, we get it all the time. And there's been, I mean, if you go down the rabbit hole and Google bed bug news, which I do all the time because I have to. I don't recommend it, but
I'm not going to.
it's horrible. But like New York City's one of the subway
Mm,
to Queens, like 2 years ago, they had to shut down the subway because the control
seriously?
tower was infested.
Oh
So
my
when it
God.
started, and that's when I started laughing. I go, when it starts affecting public transit, like buses, airlines, movie theaters, trains, you name it, it doesn't matter. They're there. Movie
So
theaters.
here's the deal, though. Think about, and I think of them as vectors. We call them vectors in science. So all of these individuals on all of this public transport, they're going into homes and
Yeah,
hotels, and they're just spreading the
yeah.
situation. Okay, so we're getting some commentary. So Eric, oh my gosh, Eric says we recently had bed bugs in our 4-family long-term rental. One tenant brought them in and never said anything. What a nightmare. Oh,
Yeah.
Eric, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Eric, I'm sorry, number one, that happened to you. And the problem is that it's the guests. They're the ones that bring them in. Most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, but a lot of them don't even know they have them.
Yeah.
Because the bugs just down their luggage. And oh yeah, there's been too many stories like that, and I'm sorry you had
So
to
I
deal with.
would wake up in the morning and I would have what I thought were hives at one
Mm-hmm.
point. The next phase was I thought I was getting bruised. And I would ask my husband, did you beat me up last like on like black and blue, just and you don't feel the pain, like you said, due to the
Yeah,
anesthesia the bug is
yeah.
applying. Thank you, anesthesiology bug. And then
You're
in the
right.
morning, you're like, oh, I just don't feel well. Like my arms and my legs, they're all like, oh my gosh, it's insane. So Gail says there was a scammer. Gail, could you clarify that for me? She says there's a scammer with the planted bed bug to get a refund and scare the heck out of me. I'm not
Oh,
sure, Gail, but Gail, it's unfortunate because like Mike is telling us, it's a lot of times guests that are bringing it in. The space could have been perfectly cleaned.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
unfortunate that someone
It
would try
is.
to do something like that.
It is, and
Let's see. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
I was saying, yeah, that's unfortunate with there are scammers out there that would go into hotels and bring in their own bed bugs and then say, hey, I got bed bugs, and
Oh
that's the downside
man.
of it. And in the problem is in 2019, a lot of the hotels, a lot of people in hospitality, they start coming up with bed bug prevention plans and got
Okay.
proactive with it. So, when COVID hit, it's obviously more of that was more important than bed bugs at the time. And a lot of them are just starting back up, that are opening back up again. They're starting to put good protocol in, and that's another thing that, to answer something about prevention,
Yeah.
for running a short-term rental, is have a protocol if it does happen. So there's a point of contact. So they say, hey, so they're not they don't run right to the review section, say I got bed bugs. They contact the host. Be prepared for that call, because number one, don't blame the guest right away. You just get proactive on it right away and say, we will definitely take care of this. And there's a certain steps that you want to take with that guest. Number one is you definitely want to make sure that anything they brought with them gets treated. You can actually, if you got most places will have a washer dryer, get all their stuff, all their clothes in the washer and dry at very high heat. Same thing with the sheets, and get your vendor over there to give, to make sure that that's a problem. It's almost like, it's DEFCON 5 when it happens.
It is.
But as long as you are continuing to communicate with that person and staying calm about it, and not putting any blame on anything, because they're already blaming you. You're just being proactive. There's a protocol to it, because, at that point you immediately say, well, obviously we're not going to charge you for this night.
Right.
And hopefully you have a backup plan. We're going to put you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because you definitely want to keep that guest happy.
Yeah.
And then follow up with that guest if they need a heat treatment. And then also, 9 times out of 10, those travelers aren't doing their own side of prevention either. So it's your opportunity to start educating them. It's like, hey, next time you travel or when you stay, make sure, you're doing these things that are preventing these bugs, because that's a whole nother side of it, is educating the traveler, which is what we're kind of focusing on in the next year. And that's
Yeah.
why with our product, we're coming out with a travel size.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mhm.
And Mike, you touch base on so many great things there, and I don't want to move past it too quickly, but let me make sure that I am catching some of these questions. So
Yeah.
Sandy asked, what is the product again? And Eric responded, thank you, Eric. Eric's paying attention. Apprehend was the product that was mentioned a little bit earlier.
Right.
Chris says, okay, Eric, that was a pro product though. Yeah. So Gail
Yes.
is
Yeah.
following up and saying that's a pro product though.
It
Yes,
is.
that's a pro that would be using
Yes.
that. Chris
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'll say, yeah, let me clarify on apprehend.
Yeah.
Apprehend is a fungicide that is used by professionals.
Yeah.
And you have to be certified to use it. I definitely want to be clear on that, because that's not even my product. I'm just telling somebody else about a wonderful product, because that's a question I get in my industry all the time. Is they ask me about other products. And when it comes to bed bugs, I get behind any product that's going to get rid of these bugs. I don't have my competitor is the bed bug. So when I see other products being used, I'm all for it. If it works, great. But there is no magic wand to get rid of them. So there are chemicals that you can use, but that we stayed away from the chemicals, because what generally happens when you spray the bug with a chemical, it'll kill like the generation of the bug, but when the bug dies, it lays its eggs. And it's like us getting a flu shot. That new second generation bug will have that chemical in them. They build an immunity towards that chemical. So the bugs that survive during a chemical treatment, they're immune to that chemical. So then you have to spray a different chemical on them. And now what you're doing is you're spraying multiple chemicals in a place where people sleep. And that's definitely, you don't want to do that, because bed bugs were almost eradicated when they back in the, I think it was the 70s or 80s, that it was
Really?
Yeah, they were using DDT.
Oh,
DDT kills everything. And
right.
yeah, and when they stopped using DDT, that's when the bed bugs made their comeback. Yeah. So yeah, my
Probably
product
with a little mutation also.
yeah, exactly. So you're just
Yeah.
making them stronger. So yeah, our product, it's actually, and I don't like doing shameless plugs. I hope it's okay to talk about my product.
No, and that's why you're here, because I know
Yeah.
everyone's on the edge of their seat asking, but real quick, we do have a couple more questions. Chris says, okay, this is a comment. Chris says, I also learned that not everyone is allergic to bed bugs. So some people don't know they're being bitten. That happened to me, Chris.
Yep.
I didn't know I was being bitten, and they ate me up all night. And in the morning, hours and hours later, I felt the repercussions. So you're
Yes.
absolutely right. You're not going to feel it immediately because of the anesthesia they're applying before their
Yeah.
bites, those smart little boogers.
Yeah. Everybody reacts differently to it.
Yeah.
It's just getting stung by a bee. Like some people are wildly allergic to it. It's the deadly form. Some people, it's like, whatever, I didn't even feel it. So everyone's different. Yeah, there are situations out there where I know, somebody personally that got bit at a resort, and she actually had to take a medication, the same medication that fights herpes. So it's
Really
like something that strong to get rid of it, because she welt up it was her legs. It was her one leg. It just looked horrible. And I go, what the heck was that? She goes, I got bit by bed bugs. I went,
oh my gosh. That's
yeah.
insane. And Angela says, do the waterproof bed bug encasements help? That's what we use. We're using like waterproof encasements from like a company.
Yeah.
And that's, we haven't had any issues, knock on wood.
Yeah. There's a lot of mattress covers out there that in the market, and I won't promote which one. I won't recommend which one, because I've used 2 or 3. I just know when I travel and I see them covered, I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel better. I'm like, okay, at least the host is doing something about it, So I see that and I go, good, because that's one thing when I check in, I lift up the sheets and I check the mattress, and that little cord that goes around the mattress, I lift that up, and if you see any red or brown dots, that's bed bug proof.
Yeah.
So when I see that, I immediately call the host or the manager and saying, you've got gummy bears. So yeah, so the hotels don't even call them bed bugs, by the way. Hotels have different terms for it. So they call them gummy bears, glitter. what else do they call them?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they call them out. They'll say, you know, room 717 has a barbecue, and that just means we got a hot room. We need to heat that room up. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
Glitter's my favorite.
insane.
Glitter's my favorite one.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell us about your product, Freedom Organicides. I'm really excited. I haven't had the opportunity to use it yet. I'm looking forward to adding that as a part of our protocol, but would you mind sharing a little bit about it?
For sure. That's on the other side of the table. Hang on one second.
No, take your time. Well, while you're moving, that's okay. I wanted to put in a little bit of emphasis as to what Mike was saying. We're in an economy now, guys, where, you know, you saw how the Airbnb rules just kind of came down on us. And so when Mike says not if, but when you get that horrible call one day, and so, you know, prevention is, you know, the cure, right? But if we have a game plan in place, that's going to be the most important, because here's the deal. You do not want the guests reaching out to the OTA. If whatever you do, do not let them reach out to the OTA. It is a level 10 when there's bed bugs, okay? So whatever you need to do to get that guest out of that property, if you can, get them out of the property, refund them everything, and then reach out to your team to eradicate it. And really, I would suggest going ahead and start reaching out to see who carries the product that Mike just suggested a little bit ago, apprehend, to come up with a list, you know, this is your list of wise counsel, to come up with a list of 2 or 3 people that if it happens, you go ahead and you reach out to them as soon as possible. You refund the guests, you do whatever you can to protect your listing, and then you get her done. Because here's the deal. If you do not take care of it yourself, if you leave it to Airbnb, leave it in their hands to take care of it yourself, I have seen listings shut down for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, about 3 weeks, because the certification or the approval, and please correct me, that Airbnb wants to see for the eradication of the bed bugs, it takes that much time for someone to come in and say, okay, all of this was done. But if you jump all in and you take care of it, and I bet there's like an Airbnb person watching you right now, right? I don't want to go against any terms of service, but I don't want your unit to be down for 3 weeks. I would rather it be down for 4 or 5 days than 3 weeks. It's going to be down. It's going to be down. Make your peace with it. Your unit is going down. You got to shut it down. Shut the whole thing down. This is a level 10. Shut the whole thing down. But you control the narrative. You control the situation. Help the guests, transition them as best as you can, however you can, but everyone has to get out. Bring in the Ghostbusters, like, do the thing. And so that's me on my little, what do you call it when you get on that soapbox? Yes.
Yeah.
That was my soapbox. But Mike, let me take it away.
That's a good soapbox to be on. That's such a good point right there, because, you know, you'd rather be shut down for 4 days than 4 weeks.
Yeah. Because you're going to be shut down anyway. You're going to be shut down anyway.
And I love that you said that, because it's the one saying that I've kept with me since day one, is that I'm going to get it wrong now, but it's cheaper to prevent and prepare than it is to repent and repair. Yeah. And I don't know where I even heard that from, but that's just struck such a chord with me, because it's so true in anything. And yeah, I love the fact, and you know, if with your pest control vendor, that person needs to be speed dial anyway. Yeah. Because that's just one pest. There's other pests, and trust me, they will not get upset if you solve the problem for them for bed bugs, because they still have other pests to deal with. Right. Yeah. And with your housekeepers, there's actually somebody that I met. Actually, I think the same time I met you, Dr. Mila, the e-host keeper.
Yes. I wonder if she's here. She just joined my group. We're actually going to be talking and doing a Q&A on cleaning teams. So Mila, tell me.
Mila is, first of all, she's a phenomenally motivated individual, and she runs an amazing cleaning company. Yeah. And she's the same belief. She trains her staff, And when we start talking about bed bug prevention, she's like, Mike, you don't even need to tell me. Just I'm buying some of that stuff. Let's start using it. Because she goes, we see, housekeepers, we see bed bugs and bugs all the time. And so now it's to the point where to strengthen her business is that when she's training her people what to inspect and how to inspect, when they see a sign, they can start that protocol. They can go, hey, you need to call your pest control and you need to get a canine inspect, or whatever the case may be from there. So that's what I love. That's what I love about her. She jumped all over it because she understands hospitality, and that's been great. And with our product, with my product, we're strictly a preventative spray. If there's an infestation, you call a professional. But what our product does, it's called Freedom. It looks like this. It's a big orange can. All right. It's 100% it's all natural. That's all made with essential oils. The main ones are cedarwood oil, castor oil, mineral oil, and nitrogen. It smells straight up like lemon pledge. So it doesn't have a bad smell to it. And I'll give you a quick, so you basically shake the can up for about 12 to 15 seconds and that activates the oil, right? It comes out, I hope you can still see me. It comes out a really fine mist. You can spray it right in your, and you can put it on if you want. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you said essential oils, so
it's all natural. It does no harm to humans. I wouldn't drink it or anything, but yeah, it's nitrogen based, so it's 100% all natural. And that was our biggest key when we started. We wanted to stay all natural, and but it smells like lemon pledge, and that the smell goes away after a while. But when you spray just a little goes a long way because it is oil. You spray the mattress about 8 to 12 inches away. The mattress, the box spring around the head, behind the headboard, underneath furniture. A lot of housekeepers, what they do in the hotels, they'll spray the inside of their laundry tubs with it. What I do recommend, even with your LVP flooring, spray some on a dry cloth and wipe down all your baseboards and your outlets, because the bugs will go into the outlets. And also, if you have baseboards with LVP flooring, it would be a good idea to make sure you put a caulking between where the baseboard and the LVP hit. Just so there's no way they can get underneath the boards, because those bugs are flat. They will go under anything. Yeah, but with our spray, that's all you really need to do. And the residual effect on it, since it's all natural, most chemicals by law the residual can only last 30 days. With an all natural product, our product lasts anywhere from 60 to 90-day residual. And what happens is, if it's sprayed on a bug, if there's existing bugs, that bug is going to die in about 15 seconds. If there's no bugs, what happens, since that oil stays there, when a bug walks across a treated area, they breathe from their lungs. They breathe that in right there. It not only poisons them, but the oil also suffocates them at the same time. So they die right away. And with the oil, it also covers the eggs. And if the eggs actually hatch, they'll start walking across a treated area and they die. So they will never, they won't reach the food source.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's what we've done. And for the most part, most of our hosts that use the product, the housekeeping will just, spray right on the mattress cover, spray the mattress cover. Every now and then with those mattress covers, you do want to make sure there's no holes in them. Yeah. Because the bugs will go right in the zippers. They will crawl through anywhere to go hide. But between turns, they just spray. I have some hosts that actually find out where their guests are coming from. And if they're coming from a city that's known for bed bugs, they will make sure they use the product.
Okay, you're gonna have to name some names. I think Chicago, I heard, was one. No offense, my Chicagoans, but
no problem.
Okay, name some names. What are some cities? Come on.
I will, because I know the number one city right now is Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah. Congratulations, Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh.
Chicago, Baltimore, San Francisco, Las Vegas. I mean, any major city is going to be in the list. Yeah. But there's some smaller ones like Grand Rapids, Michigan, and these little ones on the list. They come up with the list based on the service calls from Orkin and Terminix, but still, it's every city to me. So I'm in Northern California. I'll put all of my California cities on blast. There's a couple cities outside of outside of the Bay Area, like in the East Bay, little, I won't say the city, but that city, pest control companies will not even go service that area because the bed bug situation is so bad. It's like, we can't kill all these things. They're everywhere. So yeah. And you know who it is. If you're in that city, you know exactly who it is.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
We'll take it offline.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions. Is there some way we can learn about prevention? So Gail, I think you asked that a little bit earlier. So definitely we got a whole bunch of pointers on prevention, everything from caulking, right? Yeah, we just don't want to give them a place to go and hide, right? The encasement spraying in between turns. Is that what, I think that was a question from Quay. Do you recommend we ask our cleaners to use your product after each rental? Yes, that is what. Yeah,
for sure. And one can, if you have a two-bedroom spot, and if you're just spraying the beds and say the baseboards and underneath, one can's going to last you because it's oil based. So a little goes a long way. Okay. So what you can also do, since mosquitoes, it also repels mosquitoes too, is that if you have an outdoor patio in the summer months, once every couple of weeks, spray underneath the patio furniture. And that'll just kind of keep them away as I'm dropping it. Yeah, that keeps them away. And then the product's actually being studied by the University of Arizona for the effects on head lice. So we don't have any data on it yet. And you can find all of our MSDS sheet, and if you want to see the report, you can. You can find that on our website. But the reports are absolutely incredible. I'm just trying to think what else I had something else I wanted to say about that too, about the encasements. There's just number one, get them. But back with the housekeepers. Yeah. So that if the housekeepers, if they're doing their job and they're inspecting it, that is so key, is having a diligent, regular inspections. And keep it, that's half the battle, is just that awareness, and you're being proactive about it. So you're slimming the chances down. So if you do see one bug, or your guest sees one bug, don't freak out. Take care of that guest, but also get a canine inspector in there. That'll determine the size if you're infested or not. If you're not infested, that just means that bug is kind of new, and you can do something about it. You can make sure that the guest won't get bit. Yeah. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to avoid.
Absolutely. So a couple more questions came down the pipe. And Angela, by the way, you owe me some names. Take a look at your messenger, please. We are naming her beach house. So we have a few. We're going to vote on them. So pick like 5 or 6 that you like off of that list that my copywriter sent, and we're going to vote on them. Okay, Angela?
Where's her beach? Where's our beach?
This is Crystal Beach, Texas. So we're going to be featuring her property really soon.
Okay.
So near Port Bolivar.
Okay. Crystal
Helena
Beach
has a question. Helena says, I think this question is more for me. Helena says, how do you convince the guests not to contact Airbnb? So Helena, whenever I run into a service issue with a guest, the way I'm able to kind of finesse and sway them, and I know everyone says, don't speak to the guests, you need to write everything on the platform. I pick up a phone and I speak to the guests. Pick up a phone and I speak to the guest. And then use all of the charm that I possibly can without implicating myself, but just really, really being empathetic, really being apologetic, working it out with them to let them know that you're on their side. You're going to do everything in your power in order to make sure they're okay. You can't believe that this happened. And, that's worst case scenario, because the last thing I want is for you to ever encounter this. So what Mike is teaching us tonight is the preventative steps, getting our cleaning team on board so that we don't have to have that difficult conversation with the guests. But if push comes to shove, take everything, and this probably against terms of service, take everything off the platform. You pick up a phone, you call them, and you go all in, drop everything, because the bed bug situation, it is a level 10, unfortunately. I'll say a level 9. Level 10 will be like a fire or death, but it's a level 9.
Yeah. more like a set. But that's the whole point, that we want to turn bed bugs into like a 6.5 down the road. That's our goal.
Right.
And I'm so glad you said what you said. And it just reminds me, I'm going to give a shameless plug that especially anybody that's new to this industry, there's a book called Hospitality from Within.
Mm.
It is written by an amazing person named Sarah Dandashi. And
Mm.
she was the concierge of the world's best concierge. She won a crazy award. So she was a concierge at a hotel, and her book is incredible, and it explains the mentality of hospitality, especially when you're
Mm.
dealing with problems like that. Because you hit something right there. You said the word empathy, and
Mhm.
that is so key when you're dealing with your guests. Because remember, they're on vacation,
Mhm.
or they're there to relax or to gain an experience. And if you can add to that experience, it makes it all the better. If you're taking away from their experience, all of a sudden you're the problem,
Yeah. Isn't that
and
the truth?
I'm so grateful you brought that up.
Yeah, and I just texted it to Christian. Christian, drop that book in the group for me, please. I would love to get my hands on that and make sure
Yeah.
that we all, because that's the level of service we want to provide for our guests. And I know there's a lot of back and forth about guests doing this, that, or the other, but ultimately our goal is to provide a top service for our guests, because some of these guests, this is their only vacation, their only opportunity to do something for the whole year or for 2 years. And we want to
Yeah.
make sure that it's as special as possible. A couple more
Right.
questions. Okay, so Gail says, Quay is asking, can you spray it on baseboards of wood floors, not laminate, wood?
You don't want to spray it on any hard surface flooring because it is
You'll
oil.
slip and slide, right?
Yeah, you won't do that.
The bug
Yeah,
is sliding, but I'm sliding too.
exactly. To keep it off the floors. But what you can do is, for baseboards, you spray it on a dry cloth and just wipe it on the board.
Mm.
Right. So I actually have I'm not allowed to say any name of hotel that uses our product for obvious reasons, but I have a very popular, well-known hotel that they have it here in Sacramento. It's a 5-star hotel, and they have a lot of woodwork.
Mm.
The housekeeper said it smells just like lemon pledge. I'm just going to use this for our woodwork. So they spray it on they spray it on a cloth and just wipe down their sides of their furniture, and on their shelves, and on their baseboards.
Nice.
They've been, when I first met them, they had 3 rooms that were infested, and they've been bed bug free since 2018.
That's awesome.
Oh, I have another thing for you, for your hosts too.
Tell me.
There are 2 websites. One's a little more updated than the other. One's called bedbugreports.com. And the other one is called bedbugregistry.com. Bedbugreports.com is a little more up to date and current. But what it is, it's a website where people can report your place that you had bed bugs.
Wow.
It's also a pretty good travel guide, because if you know you're staying somewhere, you can kind of research, hey, has this property ever had bed bugs before? Bedbugreports.com, they break it down by the city, state, and he posts like 3 new instances a day on average, and he can probably post about 200 a day. He gets so many, he's like, I can't keep up, but I'm only going to throw 3 a day on there. So a guest can go up there and say, hey, I was staying in this location. Here's the address. Here's the room number, or here's the address of the rental I stayed in. Here's what I found. Here's a picture, and here's what the management did about it.
Oh, wow. That's the whole
Yeah.
life cycle of the situation.
Yes. And it's pretty interesting. On my end, it's really interesting because I just see it's some horrible stories, but it's also I'll just give them a call. But yeah, so it's a source that nobody really uses, that like knows about it that much, but the travelers that do, they stay. Well, I'm not going to stay at that hotel, or I'm not going to stay at that place because they had it 6 months ago and they didn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the part, right, Mike? What did they do about it?
Right.
What did
Right.
they do about it? Yeah,
Right.
because it's going to
Yeah.
happen. They're
Of course it is.
hitchhikers, but what did they do about it? That
Mhm.
part right there. Okay, the next question is, where can, like all these questions of where can we get your product? What's the name of Mike's product? Mike, give it to
I
us.
know. I'm. Oh, I know. I get made fun of by my partners all the time because I never promote the product as much. But, it's actually called Freedom.
Mm-hmm,
That's probably backwards, but it's
mm-hmm.
called Freedom. You can go to freedomorganicides.com. And that's ORGANICIDES.com. Freedom.com was taken, so we had to come up with something else. And right now, they're only available in 9.2 ounce cans or by the case. But during checkout, if you put the promo code pest free, all capitals, you get, I think it's like $3 off a can. You can also find
Pest
there's
free, one word.
Freedom, but pest free, one word. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also go to Mayfair Hotel Supply. They're based out of Chicago, and we're in their catalog. We were in HD Supply regionally here that we were getting ready to do a national job with them. We tested it in 3 markets, and right before we rolled out nationally, that's when COVID hit. And while COVID was going on, HD Supply got bought out by Home Depot. So right now we're in a waiting cycle. We're still waiting to hear back. We're definitely going to be a part of HD Supply still. We're just waiting for all the pieces to drop because a big corporation merge. We're waiting on our new contact there, but that should be up hopefully by the end of the year. And we definitely, my project is coming out with the travel sizes. And as soon as that travel size, I'm really excited because I finally found a small enough canister, a 2.9 ounce canister that we were happy with. And now it's just a matter of getting it labeled and getting in line for our manufacturer to make it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Esther, you got your answer. Quay, you have got your answer. Gail affirms, she goes, I'm going to be doing some caulking on some floors shortly. Yes, me too. I know that's right. Yes. So this was so informative. Mike, I cannot thank you enough for joining our community tonight and sharing this information with us. We learned so much. We learned how to eradicate this infestation. We learned that we're not alone. Over 80%. That is a lot of folks in the hospitality world, and that's reported, right? There's some probably is not very much reported.
Yeah,
so that's scary.
Let me make a point about that too, because when I first learned that, I told everybody, especially in the hotels, and they couldn't stand that I was bringing that up. And I have a few mentors in the hotel world that really have taken me under the wings and have really helping us out because they believe the hotel owners I'm not making them sound like they're bad people. It's not their fault.
No.
And that's the hard part because like we're not sprinkling bed bugs once a month in our places. The guests are bringing them in. Mm-hmm. So fortunately for us is that when I started doing, my mentor said, hey, if 80% have them, why don't you find the 20% that don't? And let's talk to them. That's what I started doing when COVID was going around.
Wow.
And that's where we started coming up with these tips, these hard surfaces. That's from the hotel people that don't have them. The luggage racks in the bathroom. That's from managers that are telling me I didn't come up with this stuff. I'm not smart enough. Inspections on a quarterly basis for sure in the hotel rooms. Your housekeeping needs to know what to look for, and it's a team environment to have a good protocol and to have mattress covers and to use our product. So that's where that came from. So when I started talking to the 20% that are doing it right, I'll stick with you guys.
Yeah.
And that's and I just don't want to see that statistic show up in short-term rental.
Yeah.
I would rather see, short-term rentals have a lesser chance of getting them at short-term rentals because they're doing something about it. And that's why it's so exciting for short-term rentals right now, because you're like it or not, your competitor is the hotel.
Yeah.
Right. They're scared of short-term rentals.
Mhm.
And you have an opportunity to get a step ahead of them by starting to prevent now. They're still playing catch up.
Yeah.
You start doing that. I've got 2 hosts that actually made little place cards with our logo on it and put it right on the dresser in the bedroom that said, "This property protected by Freedom," with a little, bed bug with a circle through it.
That part, Mike, let's not skip over that part, because who was it? Was it you, Gail, that said that there was a guest who was trying to kind of extort you over a fake, claim?
Mhm.
Was it Gail? It was Gail. And so having that, it's almost like beware of dog, having that,
Yeah.
little symbol, I like that, to let
Yeah.
them know that we're really taking care of the problem before it happens.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another, great tip to mitigate.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
what it does, it kind of puts the guest on blast a little bit. Like, well, shoot, they're taking the time and the energy to prevent. Maybe I should.
Mm-hmm.
And just even a quick sign that, hey, make sure you use the luggage racks.
Yep.
Just even if you sound like, oh, well, this host must be super anal about it, but if I see that, I'm going to pay attention to that rule. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Oh, so many pointers, guys. I hope you all weren't sleeping on this. A lot of great pointers. Oh my goodness. I was
I hope
looking at
not.
the wrong screen. We have so many wonderful
Oh,
comments. And okay, so hey, Sandy, OTA is the Airbnb platform or the Verbo platform. So what I was saying is I didn't want the guests to just straight up go into the platforms and start saying that there's an infestation issue.
yeah.
I want
Yeah.
you to take ownership of it as soon as possible. What is the name of Mike's product? Esther, you got it. Yep, Christian typed in hospitality from within with
Yep.
the promo code. I typed it for you, Christian. Let me see. It is pest free. Please add that to the Facebook group as well. Can you please, Quay just said, can you please post it to the Facebook group under the Zoom? Yes, please. Gail would love the website link. We will post the website link. We will post all those weird forums that we can go and check who has bed bugs.
Yeah.
And where do we get the sticker? Gail says, where do you get the sticker? Is it something like, it's probably an Etsy thing, Gail?
Yeah, I don't know. They did it now. That got me all excited about it, because what we're doing we're starting to do a lot of trade shows and conferences now that they're back.
Yeah.
We're coming out with those stickers, and we're coming out with, when our travel size kicks in, that's where I'm going to go. That's what you'll see a lot more of me. But I'm making some big orange luggage tags with our logo on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're using it, and it's kind of our branding, is like when you see it, because it's big orange can, or practice safe sleep, that's my favorite one. But when you see that big orange luggage tag, that whoever has that luggage sprayed their luggage with it, and so that's
so good.
That's what we're going with it. So yeah, and feel free you have my email. Just feel free to share that to whoever. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me, if not my cell. I answer my phone all the time. It's funny because I deal with so many hotels all over the place. I can't tell who's spamming me, who's a robocall, or who's a hotel, because everybody's, oh, it must be a hotel, and it ends up being a robocall, or if it's a robocall, it ends up being a hotel. So
I totally get it. Yes, so I do have your email. We will be in touch. So a lot of great information. We have book recommendations, links on where to find out where pest issues are happening on the underground.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you so much, Esther. Esther added the author's name is Sarah Dandashi. Thank you so much, Esther. So you have a very much engaged group here tonight. Guys, I hope you all were inspired to take action, because here's the deal. I kid you not. I felt absolutely. Oh, it says, okay, thank you, Roberta. And I'm going to reach out to Mike. Mike, Roberta says that the code pest free is saying that it's expired. So if you don't mind checking on that for me, and then I can send it out to the group.
I will have that reset right away.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's the
Yeah,
first thing I'll
Angela
do
is
tomorrow.
confirming it's expired. Okay, Angela. So guys, the pest-free code is expired at the moment, but we're going to check
Yeah.
back a little bit, and Mike is
Okay.
going to get that refreshed for us so that we can take advantage of those $3 off, because it
Yeah.
all adds up, right? But
And
honestly, Mike, I kid you not, I felt absolutely helpless when we encountered bed bugs. And so you just equipped us and inspired us to take action ahead of
good.
time on prevention, and then really taking action if something were to occur and we had to deal with it. So for that, we are so grateful. Guys, you know the drill. We come here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, I'll be back in Zoom and in the Facebook group. If not, we'll figure it out, because everything is figure outable. Next week, be prepared. Okay. We have a great set of lineup for you. Next week, I am going to be debuting my top 75 US cities to invest in for short-term rentals. And this is my 2022 list. So I am so looking forward to sharing with you what that looks like. For those of you who saw the 2021, there is a significant difference with this one as opposed to the one before. And I'm going to be doing a little teaching on that and a webinar on that next week. Additionally, we have a few guests coming on over the course of the next couple of weeks. Mila, the host keeper, she is in charge of an entire cleaning team. I would call it an empire of cleaners that she developed. So bring all of your cleaning team questions, because you know what I say, the cleaning team is really the bosses of this business. Okay. So let's get with Mila and let's figure out how to get our lives together when it comes to cleaning team. I have the co-founder of Peer Space coming on. So Quay, the co-founder of Peer Space, has agreed to join us so we can do a Q&A. We're going to be talking about that little pied-à-terre that you're looking at in New Haven and how to turn it into a content house. So I cannot wait to have that conversation. And of course, Yona Weiss, we're going to be talking about cost segregation studies, taxes. And then we have Ryan Backey. We're going to be talking about taxes again. And those are some of the individuals that I have lined up. I feel like I'm missing someone, but definitely tap into the Facebook group if I am blocked on Facebook. So Gail, I'm not blocked on Facebook per se. I can go in, but I just can't go live anymore. So I can go in. I've been chatting it up. So Quay says, hooray. So guys, oh my goodness, believe it or not, I'm supposed to be at another event, a virtual meetup that started 15 minutes ago. But you know how much I love hanging out with you all and having a blast. So again, I hope you're inspired. I love being empowered, and you have done that for us. What a gift, Mike. Thank you for empowering us and giving us some tips and tools so that we can go in confidently and host in our spaces. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, Doctor, thank you very much. And right back at you. I'm so grateful that we actually met, and the way we met was funny, but it's for a reason. And I wish everybody a very prosperous week, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. And just God bless you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Bye-bye for now.
All right. Bye-bye.